Hey everyone, my name is Timon Marshall. I came into OCD recovery back in September 2023. I think it was the end of September 2023. So, roughly a year and a half ago. I have dealt with OCD probably for about 15 years to some degree. Didn't know what it was for the longest time. The first time now that I realized, like when I really first got hit with OCD, was relating around religious based fears. I spent 2 years as a missionary, and I was probably about a year and a half into that experience when I just had like an impending sense of doom. And I felt like I was going to hell. I felt, and all the fears and compulsions that came along with that. And I did a lot of that stuff for a long time. Yet again, didn't know what it was. And it's kind of interesting because that actually got way better over time because I kind of had to learn to not hold things as rigidly because I just realized I couldn't do it. I was like, if I keep this up, like I'm just going to fall apart. So I just had to start naturally letting go of some things, becoming more accepting of certain things, holding more of a preference on certain things. And guess what? It definitely improved my relationship with, religion in general, which I know is obviously a something that we work on with OCD recovery, right? We work on holding views or beliefs less rigidly. And so for me, that was a big thing. It helped me out quite a bit. And then I would say like the better part of my 20s, OCD, it reared its head when I was dating. In fact, I'll share this real quick because I'm married now and have 3 kids, but I can remember dating my wife. And I remember, like, we'd actually known each other for a long time, and we dated, and then we spent time apart, and then we dated again. And I can remember there was a point after like one of our dates where I just kind of felt smitten. I was like, man, this is it. And I can remember like really committing and being like, okay, we're going to get married, we're going to move forward with this. And then OCD just rearing its head, and I just remember like finding every other woman attractive and not having those feelings for my wife. And I can still remember the day I got married and going up to my dad and saying, I just made the biggest mistake, like getting married. That's how I felt. It was that, like, I just made a huge mistake, and it was the end of the world. Not the end of the world, but I felt like it wasn't the right decision. And I honestly, I feel bad for my wife in those first few years because a million things I could have done better had I known how to handle certain situations better. But over time, I just started to make the decision that it's my job to make it right. My relationship, I ultimately decided to get married. And yet again, there's no right or wrong answer on whether or not to stay in something. But to me, it was important to try to make a marriage work. And I'm forever grateful that I did. And it's blessed my life tremendously to be married. And don't get me wrong, it's had its challenges. I mean, if you've been in a long-term relationship, you know that being married it requires a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice. But I am truly grateful that I stuck that out. So yeah, then fast forward to like 23, and I teach high school, and I've coached American football for the better part of 10 years, and so I've been coaching for about a decade. I took some time off to take a step aside, be with family, and being away. Then I got into. I was like, okay, like my health had kind of fallen off. I mean, I'd always kind of exercise, but like my eating was not good, and put on quite a bit of weight. So I was like, okay, this is an excellent time for me to kind of prioritize my health, eat better, and start exercising some more, take better care of myself that way. So I got really into it, and that's when OCD really, really latched. It latched to my health. It latched to like appearance, performance. A lot of this is stemming from fear of rejection. Am I a man? Am I tough? Am I a pussy? That kind of stuff. Like, so it tied in with a lot of that. But then it also tied in with, like, I went and got like a testosterone test. I remember it came back lower than I wanted it to, and I was freaking out about it. And my uncle's my doctor, poor guy. I was like texting him like, freaking out, and just kind of spiraling, right? And as many of us know how that goes. And then I actually spent. I remember I had like a week where I actually stayed home from school and from work because my anxiety was so bad. I remember I spent probably 2 days in a row where I didn't like sleep at all. I was awake the entire night, just shaking on the couch. Like that's how intense the anxiety got. And in those moments, you just feel lost. You feel like I don't know how I can live on doing this, And so, I got on some medication. I got in touch with like an OCD clinic and started some work with them, some therapy with them. And, I got better initially. I say better, I mean, like at least my symptoms kind of went away and I was able to manage it for probably 5-6 months. And then the fear, like really it crept in the back door and just, cause I remember like, I was terrified of feeling that way again. And I had not addressed it. And this is before anything about OCD recovery and all the work that we do here. And then I just got hammered with it in the summer of 23 and kept pushing along. And, I actually kept pretty good life structure and all that stuff, despite all that. But I was definitely doing a lot of meditation, trying to get it to go away, trying to sit with that. I thought, okay, if I really just accept it, I could, it would just vanish. That's not how it works. And then I can remember getting ready to come back to school, start school again, start work for that school year in the fall of 23. And I just remember feeling like, I can't do this. Like, I just started like freaking out again. And I called my uncle and I was like, I think I need to admit myself to the hospital. And he ended up picking me up and taking me out to breakfast and spending some time with me, which I'm very grateful for family and friends that care about me and, didn't judge me and, at least not to my face anyway. But just, really were there to kind of put an arm around me in my hardest times. I know not everybody has that. I'm grateful for that. Even if they didn't have all the tools on how to help. And that summer I had found OCD recovery. I'd started listening to some of the videos and then all of a sudden I went back to work. I started school and I just kept going. And I finally got the thought, I'm like, I need to call these guys. And I think I saw one of Nick's videos that he had done like on body dysmorphia. And I was like, and just some of the things that he described in the way that he described it, in the way fear was described, I was like, okay, these guys know something that other people don't. So I got in touch with OCD recovery and met with Rob initially, and then he transitioned me with Sam, and I've been working with Sam for roughly the last year and a half, and significant progress in my life. And I'm not recovered. I'm still working on my recovery, but and it may not come, but I do have my life back. I don't let it stop me from doing the things that I want. There's been many times where it's flared up and I just stay the course. I get up, and I'm kind of like Nick, I get up early, I exercise. I enjoy doing that. I enjoy pushing myself and trying to, challenge myself that way. And I can't tell you how important all that stuff is for recovery, of just not letting those things stop. Because I think for me still, like, just the sensations, the fear, feeling a certain way, it's something I'm working on breaking down and working through. But I've decided to not let it stop me, to not avoid, to go for things. I would encourage everyone out there to, and number one, if you're just debating on whether or not to come in or work with OCD recovery, I couldn't recommend them enough. They know what they're talking about, and they're going to put you on a path to be successful, give you the things. Everything that Sam's asked me to do, I've done it. I've challenged myself and done a lot of things that he hasn't even asked me to do. Stuff that Nick said or Moment has said or Rob said or whoever, I'm just like, hey, I'm just going to try. Like, gives me ideas. Sometimes it's specific things they've said. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do that. Other times it's just stuff I'm coming up with. I feel like, hey, I really feel like if I'm being honest with myself, this would challenge me. This would be scary. And so, I'm nervous about doing this, so I do it. And I've done that with many things. To the point now where when it's come to exposures and stuff like that, if I'm being honest, I can't think of anything that is left up for me to do in terms of like, maybe other things will pop up along the way. And if they do, I've committed myself to do it, because I've got a 5-year-old son, and I'm pretty sure, I know it's early, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has it. And so I'm always challenging him and trying to push him to do certain things as it comes to cutting compulsions or trying challenging things. And my wife and I had this talk the other day, and I said, I can't expect him to do stuff if I'm not willing to do stuff myself. And I know that sounds a little rigid, but I'm at least going to try, and therefore I feel like I can actually ask my son to do things. So I was like, I'm doing that myself. I know we talk about maybe it's a little, fluffy, but doing hard things. I think there is a lot to say about doing the hard things and doing the challenging things, especially the ones that are tailor-made and specific to you. And so that's where I would encourage you to go, is like really working on those behaviors, attacking the things that you know are you're nervous about, and then most importantly, not letting the emotions and things stop you from living your life, and really learning to give up the control and to drop that, which yet again is something that I'm working on. I haven't mastered that. I haven't gotten there yet myself, but I've come a long way with it. I'll say that. And and if it never comes, that's fine too. Like, I mean, honestly, like, so I've still been able to live a good life. And one of the things that's probably popped up with me recently is fear of maybe me dying early in the next little bit. And as I've really reflected on my life, I'm like, you know what? It's been a good life, and I've been able to do a lot of things that I've wanted to do. I feel very blessed. I've had great time with my family. I think the hardest thing and saddest thing would be to leave my family, especially young kids behind, and not see some of the milestones or things in their life. But no one's entitled to anything. And at the end of the day, I try to make the most of the time that I have, and not that I'm trying to force it every second, but just trying to make most of the time and take advantage of opportunities. And so that's what I'm going to encourage everyone to do. And so anyway, I hope this is helpful, and keep plugging along. If you're working with a coach, do what they ask you to do and do the best you can that way. And like, I look at this as a process. It's try again, 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 try again. And I think it's a huge part of life. Just keep showing up, keep trying. You fail, you get back on the horse, you try again, you try again. And so anyway, hang in there, and hope everyone has a great day.